So you've decided to go full-time in your side hustle, but you're not sure how you're going to manage your schedule. That's what we're talking about in today's video. Hey, I'm Elise Cartwright. Welcome to Hustle and Groove, where we talk about all things email marketing, productivity, and side hustle related. So today I want to talk to you about your schedule management plan when you're transitioning out of being in a side hustle and going full-time in your own business. It can be a challenge to set up your schedule, particularly if you're not super motivated to get up early or to get all the things done without external accountability. So in order to make sure that your transition is smooth and you don't run into issues around missing client deadlines and all those types of things, then follow my process for figuring out what works for you. So number one, the first thing that you need to figure out is how many hours do you need to actually be working in a day? Because the surprising thing is when you go full-time in your side hustle, it doesn't mean that you're actually needing to work 8 hours a day. That's just the norm for most businesses. So figure out what you actually need to be doing that earns money, and then everything else you can kind of figure out. So for example, my actual hours of work are 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. That's it. Everything else outside of that is purely up to me to figure out what I want to do. So that took a little while for me to get to and to figure out. So it might be the same for you. You might not know that straight away. So start with around the same hours as what you were doing in your full-time role, but maybe now if you're a morning person, you're going to start super early so that you can finish earlier in the day, or maybe you're not a morning person, so you're gonna get up later and work a little later at the end of the day. It's just more about figuring out what your ideal hours are, and then we're gonna go into this process. So the first thing that I would say is for the first 7 days of going full-time in your side hustle, just monitor how you're going. Are you achieving your goals that you set out at the beginning of the week? Are you meeting your deadlines? Are you feeling low energy? Like, what is life looking like for you after that first 7 days? So if you're not quite there yet, take a minute to go and do that. Monitor how you're feeling at the end of that 7 days, or every day. Just go, I achieved my goals. I didn't achieve my goals. I felt great. I didn't feel great. Like, what are your energy levels looking like? It's important that you know what those are, because when you're working for yourself, you actually get to choose what this looks like. You do not need to be doing exactly what you were doing in your full-time job. So take advantage of that. Keep track of what you're doing and how you're feeling throughout that first week. And then we're going to go through some different options. So I quickly realized that I have a few different schedules that work best for me depending on what I've got going on. So I'm going to share these with you. Now, I also wanted to let you know that these are part of my new workbook called Cultivate Your Hustle, which is going live very soon. So if you're watching this video and it's May 2019, the book launches on June 2nd, 2019. If you're watching this after June, then the book's already live and you will find a link in the description below. So basically, the Cultivate Your Hustle workbook is all about helping you get through the first bits of starting your side hustle all the way through to growing it, with a whole bunch of exercises for you to work through. And one of them is about figuring out your ideal schedule, which I'm going to share with you now. So the first one is going to be called the Get Refreshed schedule. So basically, this schedule looks like this. If you're someone who needs 8 hours sleep, this is probably the best schedule for you. So basically, you want to work backwards. When do you want to wake up in the morning? work out 8 hours of sleep, and then you know what time you need to go to bed. So this sample schedule that I'm going to share with you focuses more on a slightly later bedtime and not a super early wake up time. So 10 p.m. to go to sleep, 6 a.m. to get up. Then from 6 a.m. till 7 a.m. is your morning routine. This is where you're going to meditate. It's where you're going to get breakfast, shower, do some exercise. Whatever it is you want your morning routine to look like, you've got an hour to do it. Then from 7 till 10, you have a 3-hour focused work block. So this is now where you move into doing your work, and it's probably where I would do your first and number 1 and number 2 priorities in that 3-hour time. Now you may choose to have a 15-minute break in the middle of that 3-hour block. That's entirely up to you. 10 a.m. till 10:30, you get a 30-minute break. So this is where you want to kind of shake it off, grab a coffee, do all those types of things, and disengage from your computer. You definitely do not want to be doing anything else. Keep your phone face down. This is a moment to unplug. 10:30 to 1:30 p.m. Now you're back into a 3-hour focused action block. So what does that look like? Now you're going to be doing whatever else you need to be doing that doesn't maybe require as much brain power. 1:30 to 2:30 is lunch. You're getting an hour to just relax. Maybe you're going to watch something on Netflix. Completely step away from your computer. 2:30 till 5:30 is another three-hour focused action block. So this is where you're probably going to be doing just all the things admin related that don't require a lot of brain power, or anything where it's fun things that you're doing, like creating images, those types of things. And then 5:30 till 10 is your downtime. It's dinner, catching up with your family, planning a little bit before you go to bed, and restarting the day exactly the same way. So that is the refresh schedule. So this is all about making sure that you get lots of breaks throughout the day and 3 action blocks. So you still get plenty of work done, but now it just looks a little different, and you're breaking it up by making sure that you have plenty of time to refresh. This personally was my go-to when I was a freelance writer. So this is the one that I used when I started off my freelancing business. When I transitioned into going full-time, this was the schedule that worked the best for me. So you can modify this, obviously. You can modify the times, but everything else should stay the same. So if you wanted to go to bed at 9 and get up at 5, you could do that. If you wanted to go to bed at 11 and get up at 8, you could totally do that. It's just about figuring out what works best for you. So give it a try. The next one is all about being a night owl. So it's called the night owl schedule, and it's obviously for people who prefer to work at night. Now, this is not going to work for you so well if you're having to deal with clients face to face. Like if you're coaching or consulting, this might not be ideal. However, I'll tell you how you might be able to utilize it even if you're not a normal night owl. So here's what that schedule looks like. I'm going to assume that you don't need as much sleep. So I'm going for 7 to 7.5 hours, which means that, so you're going to bed at 6 a.m., waking up at 1:30 p.m. So that's 7.5 hours sleep. And this works really well, obviously, if you've not got kids, if this is just you at home, or maybe you've got a partner that goes off to work, this might be a good fit. So 6 a.m. till 1:30 p.m. is your sleep time. So 1:30 to 2 is kind of going to be like your morning routine. You're going to have something to eat, you're going to stretch, you might choose to meditate, whatever it is, to get yourself into work mode. 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. is a 4-hour focused action block. So this is where you're going to be working your butt off on your 1 to 2 priorities. You're obviously going to need to have a 5-minute break in each of those hour times. So you're not going to get a 30-minute break in amongst all of that. You're just going to take 5 minutes at the end of each hour to make sure that you're at least going to the toilet, grabbing something to eat. So that was 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. Then from 6 p.m. till 7 p.m., you're taking an hour to catch up with your friends, to have something to eat, whatever that looks like, that's when you're doing it. So 7 till 11 is another 4-hour action block. So same deal, 5-minute breaks on the hour. 11 till 11:30, you're getting a 30-minute block. Now you may choose to eat dinner here. This might be when you do that. It's whatever makes the most sense to you. I would recommend stretching and doing all those things during that time. And then from 11:30 till 3:30 a.m. is another 4-hour action block. So again, 5-minute breaks on the hour. And then from 3:30 till 6 a.m. is free time. So you might choose to go to bed now. It's up to you, but generally if you've been working right up until that point, you'll need some downtime. So watch a movie, take a break. Maybe this will only be an hour. This is really up to you. So the night owl schedule is best if this is what works for you, if you're a night person. Now you can utilize this once or twice a week in amongst the Get Refreshed schedule. So these schedules are not set in stone. You can absolutely change them. It's whatever works for you. So figure out mix up of these. I have done the night owl once or twice. It's definitely not a good fit for me. I am not a night person, but in the times where I've been trying to get something finished, I would do a modified Get Refreshed schedule, maybe finish my afternoon earlier and not take that 3-hour action block and have a good 5 hours off, and then pick up the night schedule around the 7-8 p.m. time frame, so that I could then work through till about 3:30 a.m. and then crash till 1:30 p.m., reset, and then start a Get Refreshed schedule. So it is about working out what works for you. Now I've dropped a link to both these schedules below so you can grab them, download them, check them out, try them out, see what works for you, and then you can really schedule and manage what that is going to look like for you going forward. If you do try these out, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear how these work for you, and I'll see you in the next video.